The United States government has officially acknowledged that there are unidentified objects lurking at the bottom of our oceans. But what are they and why are they there? We already know that USOs are real. What we don't know is what they are. Some believe that these are nothing more than military craft from rival countries. Others think they could be natural phenomena we haven't yet explained. But there's a much more exciting theory out there that some people believe could be true. Could it be that these mysterious underwater UFOs are actually extraterrestrial bases built by visitors from another world? Let's take a look at the evidence and see if we can come to any conclusions. Deep-sea trenches are fascinating places. Some are thousands of miles long, but only a few hundred yards wide. The Mariana Trench is the deepest one on Earth and reaches depths of over 36,000 feet. That's deeper than the height of Mount Everest is tall. And because these trenches are so deep, sunlight can't reach them. Because there's no light, there's no oxygen. And because there's no oxygen, there's no life. Well, that's as far as we knew until recently. In 2019, 3 oceanographers were investigating a trench in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Indonesia when they came across something strange. They found a coral reef growing around an object that looked man-made but was covered in barnacles and other signs of marine growth. It had been there for years. Then in 2020, a team of scientists investigated a deep-sea trench in the Pacific Ocean near Japan, and once again discovered a structure that appeared to be artificial. It was large and perfectly rectangular. Barnacles had also grown all over it. And finally, in 2022, researchers were studying the Puerto Rico Trench when they came across yet another massive unexplained structure hiding in the darkness. All 3 of these mysterious objects were in deep-sea trenches. All 3 of them seemed to be artificial, and all 3 of them were completely covered in barnacles, suggesting they'd been there for quite a while. These are only the ones we know about. There are probably many more. So now the question is, what are they? There have been several theories put forward, but before we get into those, let's first discuss what USOs actually are. The term UXO stands for Unidentified Submerged Object. Much like UFO stands for Unidentified Flying Object, an object that can't be identified doesn't automatically mean it's extraterrestrial in origin. But that's where many people's minds go. The truth is, anything that's submerged in the water and can't be immediately identified could be called a USO. That could be a sunken ship or plane, a military craft that's been lost, or even something as simple as a log of wood. There's probably not too many actual UFOs down there, but there may well be something else. As of right now, the US government hasn't revealed exactly what they know about these objects. It's unlikely they would do that anyway. If they did, it would probably cause mass panic and the stock market would collapse. But there is one thing we do know, that these objects have been there for a very long time. The barnacles growing over them tell us that much. That means these aren't the latest in naval technology. These are ancient artifacts that have been sitting on the seabed for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So that rules out most of the more mundane explanations. It also rules out most natural explanations. Volcanoes and earthquakes happen fairly regularly on the ocean floor, but they don't produce objects with perfectly smooth edges and right angles like these do. It would seem that whatever these objects are, they were crafted by intelligent hands. So that leaves us with 2 options. These are either the work of a highly advanced civilization from thousands of years ago, or they're the work of an extraterrestrial civilization from another world altogether. But who could have built them? There are currently 7 known human civilizations that have built large-scale structures on the ocean floor. China, Egypt, Greece, Italy, Japan, Korea, and the Netherlands. The Chinese have built massive underwater cities and tourist attractions, but none of them are anywhere near these newly discovered sites. The same goes for the other civilizations. So that leaves us with only one option. These really are extraterrestrial bases that have been hiding under the ocean for thousands of years. It's not a popular theory, but it's certainly not an impossible one. NASA has confirmed that aliens visited Earth in the past, and there is no reason to think they would have visited our oceans as well. In fact, it makes perfect sense. People are scared of the ocean. There's a lot that we don't know about it, and that scares us. For most of human history, people believed the ocean was the home of monsters and terrifying creatures. Because of this, humans didn't explore the ocean depths until relatively recently. Even today, we've only explored a tiny percentage of the ocean floor. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about our own ocean floors. The point is, if aliens wanted to hide something, the ocean would be a great place to do it. What's more, considering how vast the ocean is, it's not surprising that we've never spotted any signs of alien life in it. These aliens could have been here and gone back to their home planet thousands of years ago, and we would have no idea. It also explains why the objects appear to be covered in barnacles. When these aliens left Earth, they likely did so very quickly. They would have left their bases behind and possibly crashed spaceships, too. These would have been lost forever, until recently when deep-sea exploration became possible. If this is true, it raises a lot of questions. Why did the aliens leave their bases behind? Why did they abandon them? Were they forced to leave Earth in a hurry? And where did they go? Did they return home, or did they find another planet to colonize? It also raises the question of why they chose to build their bases in deep-sea trenches. After all, sunlight doesn't reach those depths. There's no oxygen, and it's incredibly cold. It's hard to imagine how anything could survive down there, let alone grow. The answer, however, might be simpler than we think. It's entirely possible that these aliens didn't need sunlight or oxygen. They could have been aquatic creatures capable of surviving in the crushing pressures and freezing temperatures of the deep ocean. But then why did they abandon their bases? And why did they leave Earth in the first place? Maybe their home planet was dying and they were looking for a new place to live. Maybe they were refugees fleeing a war in their own solar system. Or maybe Earth was never their home planet at all. Maybe they came from a world that orbits a black hole or a neutron star, and they were only passing through. Whatever the reason, it seems clear that these are extraterrestrial in origin. We simply have no other explanation for them. Consider the fact that every single one of these unexplained objects has been found in a deep sea trench. Coincidence? Perhaps, but it seems more likely that these locations weren't chosen at random. Deep sea trenches are dark, cold, and full of pressure. Most life on Earth can't survive such harsh conditions. But that doesn't mean no life can survive them. After all, there are plenty of animals living in deep sea trenches today. In fact, there are entire ecosystems down there. Something tells us that the aliens who built these bases were well aware of this. They probably knew that no human would ever venture into such deep waters. They could build their bases in peace, safe, and knowledge that they'd be hidden forever. And what's even more interesting is that they may have been right. Had it not been for the barnacles growing over these objects, we may never have noticed them. Now we're starting to understand just how vast the universe really is. We know there are planets out there similar to Earth. We know that many of these planets will have oceans. Until now, we assumed these oceans would be teeming with life, but perhaps they won't. Perhaps the only life that exists in those oceans is alien life. And perhaps some of those aliens once visited our own oceans. Maybe they saw the potential that this planet had and decided to claim it for themselves. But whatever the reason, one thing is clear. We're about to learn a lot more about the history of our world. Now, you need to watch. Ancient aliens visited Earth long before humans. Evidence is undeniable. Or check out. Why did aliens abandon their base on the moon?